Jesus is not God in the Gospel of John, no, not even in John 1:1. And the best translation of John 1:1c, the final clause, would be, "And the Word was divine." This is because ketheosino logos places theos prior to the copula in a predication and omits the definite article, meaning it should be interpreted qualitatively. It's not a reference to a specific entity, it's a reference to a quality, specifically the quality of divinity. Now, this is according to the consensus view of even evangelical Trinitarian Greek scholars.
Calling this the consensus view of evangelical Trinitarian scholars is ridiculous when you see that almost all mainstream translations of the text by evangelical scholars translate 1c as, "and the Word was God," in contrast to our friend's suggestion. There's also good reason why they do that, so let's get into it. The anatherous construction here and the omission of the definite article does not indicate that John is trying to talk about Jesus as merely divine or to suggest that John believes Jesus' nature is different to the Father's in any way. Firstly, that's obvious if you read the gospel in its context and in the way that John intends. He presents Jesus' unique role alongside the Father, his unique relationship with the Father. Consider also unique titles he gives Jesus throughout the rest of the gospel. Secondly, and directly to his point, had John wanted to merely communicate divinity distinct from God's nature, he could have used to theon to present Jesus as divine, but not really God. Thirdly, the definite article is omitted elsewhere for God the Father in line with Colwell's rule, even in the same chapter, funnily enough. Fourthly, to assume that the anatherous construction here must mean that John intends to convey a weaker sort of divinity distinct from the Father's deity is absurd. Craig S. Keener comments, quote, "In one study of about 250 definite predicative nominatives in the New Testament, 90% were articular when following the verb, but a comparable 87% were anatherous when before the verb, as here. Grammatically, one would thus expect John's predicate nominative to be anatherous regardless of the point he was making." End quote. That's Keener 492. Finally, as Edward W. Klink III points out, quote, "A qualitative use means that the word contains all the attributes and qualities that God, 1:1b, contains, yet remains distinct. The word is fully God, but God is not fully the word. This is the qualitative nature of the predicate nominative in 1:1c." End quote. This means that even if John is saying that the Word is divine, not the Word was God, he's still saying Jesus has the same nature as the Father, which would of course make Jesus God. Jesus is clearly God in the Gospel of John, and in reality too.